Next up is Urban Business Growth Initiative presentation. Councilman Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem. I am honored today to be able to present the Urban Business Growth Initiative and have many persons here to participate in today's discussion and presentation. I think many of you all know that Councilman Scott Taylor, who is the chair of the Small Business Committee, we have worked extremely hard. Myself, Councilwoman Serco, Councilman Wagner, and Councilman Taylor in his absence today, and our Small Business Committee, we have hosted over a number, I think over 17 meetings, 6 evening meetings that we've hosted. In addition to that, 67 recommendations that have been recommended and 64 which have been implemented, and 60.
That's 65 with the international office.
There we go.
65. Yes.
65 out of 67.
So we're updating and we're moving. I mean, and you guys remember, I mean, we wanted to just make sure we were making it easier and cutting the red tape for persons to do business in Kansas City. And the Urban Business Growth Initiative has really helped a number of minority businesses in our community. And so they're here to present today to tell us a little bit about some of the successes that we've seen so far, and tell some more of kind of the good news story about business growth here in Kansas City.
Great. Welcome, and if you make sure that you're talking right into the microphone so the TV can pick you up too, and introduce yourself.
My name is Maria Meyers. I work with UMKC, go Roos, so there you go, as head of the UMKC Innovation Center, and I'm also the founder of KC SourceLink, which is another thing that you've probably heard of. I have with me today, back in the background here, is Carmen DeHart, who is our director of our Small Business and Technology Development Center, Mark Allen, who's also with the Small Business and Technology Development Center, and Dwayne Joseph, who's a local entrepreneur that you'll get to hear from in a few minutes. So thank you for the time to come and talk about one of our favorite subjects, helping businesses get started in the Kansas City region. Why is that important? We know that most jobs are coming from businesses that are less than 5 years old. So we spend a lot of our time working with businesses that are younger than 5 years old and that are interested in growing. So the Urban Business Growth Initiative is kind of interesting. We hear a lot about the resources that we're building in the community for technology companies, which is terrific and awesome. But back in 2009, we lost some of our resources that were available to our micro and Main Street companies and early stage companies that were sort of outside of the technology businesses. And that included our microloan program and some of the counseling and training that was available to this community to support the non-tech, maybe slower growth company. So the Urban Business Growth Initiative became a great partnership between lots of people, and I couldn't even fit all the partners on the slide, to really bring back an infrastructure that can support that kind of a business, and especially in the urban core. So the Urban Business Growth Initiative actually brings together a number of programs and services that can help a business that wants to get started, and it really doesn't matter. They can be technology or somebody who wants to start a restaurant or a retail space or somebody that wants to start a services business. But it goes everywhere from helping people decide if they can be an entrepreneur to maybe helping them fix their credit so that they can get financing for a business, doing the training that supports business feasibility planning and business planning, helping them get a microloan or other forms of financing for their business, and then assisting them in growth. So it's sort of soup to nuts from the minute you think you might want to be an entrepreneur through I have a concept to I have a business. That's what this business partnership is all about. So from July 1st, 2013 through the end of 2014, so about 18 months, we have offered through this program counseling and training. And Mark here is one of our most active counselors in this business, and he does it in partnership with the Lincoln Building at 18th and Vine. So there's a lot of activity that we've brought to the 18th and Vine Incubator Building, and so you'll see that there are a number of counseling sessions that were done there, but it's not just the Black Economic Union's building that we do this in. It's with anybody who we can support. Also, thanks to funding, we've been able to provide scholarships to a number of our training programs, which include Fast Track New Venture, let's see if you have the right business model, to winning government contracts. Can you take what you have and sell it to large government, through a large government contract, even to working with people who are in construction and helping them learn how to really manage that construction business. And so there are a lot of activities that we do, but I think what's more important is, does this pay off? What is the return on your investment? And these are some of the statistics. We survey people that we work with over time, and now is the time to begin to do some of those. We're 18 months further into the program. And of the 18 people that we surveyed, these are the kind of results that we're getting. These businesses are starting, they're growing, and they are building job base for Kansas City. So we're pretty excited about those impacts. And I didn't want to do all the talking today because I think it's really important to hear from somebody who has actually experienced this. So I'm going to turn it over to Dwayne Joseph. Talking your...
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm Dwayne Joseph. I'm the owner of Maranatha Ed, which is a educational service business, ACT prep and math tutoring. And my business literally started after I left the Kauffman Foundation, Kauffman Scholar Program. And I went through the Fast Track program, but it was online for veterans. So once I finished that program, my mentors were in New York. And I didn't have anyone to actually help me with my business planning. I mean, it was online, so I could slack off a little bit if I wanted to, all that good stuff there. So I ended up meeting Mark at one of our Fast Track alumni meetings, and he began to tell me the things that the Small Business Development Center can actually do for my business, and I can have a mentor here in the city. So I got with him, and he helped me with my business planning. He gave me homework. He allowed me to just focus on the things that would help me grow my business. And he helped me with the marketing part of it. So my business began to grow. It began to grow to a point where most of my clients are out in the suburbs. So I focus on ACT prep and in-home math tutoring. So the business has grown a lot, and decided one day that I wanted to, he called me in the office, and he was meeting with me at 18th and Vine. Now, mind you, I'm not from Kansas City. I'm from Seattle, Washington, via Louisiana. And I didn't know, I've only been to the 18th and Vine area for maybe 2 or 3 times, and that's to see the museums down there. And and went to the jazz place across the street from my building. And when I went down there, all of a sudden I fell in love with this building. I fell in love with the area. And Mark said to me in this meeting, he said, I want you out of your home, because I worked out of my home. I go to kids' homes to tutor them, so my staff would go to kids' homes to tutor them also, so we didn't have to have a real building. And once again, when I'm at home, I can kind of like slack off a little bit, right? So Mark said to me, I want you out of your home. I want you into an office space, and, you know, this place here can be the area that you can do it in. And I was like, right, I can't afford that. He said, you'll be surprised what you can't afford. And I went upstairs, talked to Mr. Chester, and I think I signed that day. I signed that day. I moved in the next week and began to...
By the way, he kicked me out of my office.
Oh, hold on. So we eventually started working in it. I was in that office for 3 months. And he called me over again, and he said, if you had this office right here, in this office space over here, what would you do with it? And I said, oh, man, that'd be so cool. I would put a computer lab in here, and I would do this, and I would do that, you know. And he said, well, it's yours. I'm going to move out, and you can move in. And I was like, oh, boy, you called me on that one, man. So I moved into that office and eventually decided to just go to Surplus Exchange to grab some tables and chairs and all of that stuff. And when I got there, they told me, I went back, and the young man asked me about what I was going to do with all of this stuff. And I told him that I wanted to create a computer lab in the 18th and Vine district, because what I wanted to do from there, my business, Maranatha Ed, works out in the suburbs. But I wanted to bring something to that inner city, and that inner city for me was I fell in love with it, and from that point, Mark began to help me develop and construct certain things to help out the inner city kids in the 18th and Vine district. I cannot take on the whole city, but I can take on a little area, a little space. So I chose the 18th and Vine district to do that with, and I was given 10 computers, 10 desktop computers, 5 laptop computers, tables, desks, chairs, everything for that computer lab, and getting those programs up and running. So I sat down with Mark. Mark shared with me on what to look for, how to go about setting these programs up, and we're looking at doing an elderly digital literacy program in the 18th and Vine Lincoln building in that computer lab, partnering with two of the elementary schools in the area to offer after-school tutoring in math, the same program that Kansas City Fox 4 News highlighted and what we do from Maranatha Ed. We want to take that same program, bring it down into the 18th and Vine district, and partner with those 2 schools to bring those young people in. Also taking a look at GED prep and helping families and people to get their GEDs. And if it goes right, like the president wants the 2-year free college, you get a GED, you get to go to college for 2 years. It begin to change people's socioeconomic status. A lot of these programs that I'm talking about right now that we're looking at doing was all started at the 18th and Vine building in the office with Mark and helping me brainstorm through a lot of those things. So it's allowing me to become a successful entrepreneur, but also allowing me to become a community advocate for that 18th and Vine district. So I really appreciate everything that they've done for me, helping me grow my business and allowing me to become that community advocate to help out people that are a little not as fortunate as I am. Thank you.
Great story. Great story. Do you have questions, Councilwoman Curls?
I had a question. You said originally when you started out it was suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
So where does your clientele come from? I mean, I know you said suburbs, but then you're opening up to the couple of schools.
Uh-huh. Yes, ma'am.
How does that
So
work?
I a lot of word of mouth. My clients, and I said I started off in the suburbs. A lot of word of mouth in the suburbs, but we also offer free tutoring, like at Hogan Prep. He set me up with Hogan Prep to get free math tutoring to do ACT Prep at Hogan Prep in the inner city area. So we and I do that for free. I don't charge anything. Any kid, any parent that called me about tutoring in the inner city, I'll cut the price down a lot, or find out if they can't afford it, I'll just do it for free. My staff and I'll just do it for free. So the computer lab itself was designed. So I know that a family cannot afford the prices that in the inner city can afford the prices that I charge in the suburbs. So the computer lab was a focal point to actually bring people and get it for free. I have donors that's going to be coming in. Mark helped me outline all of that stuff and have those things coming in to help fund some of the programs that we want to do.
Okay, thank you for your work.
By the way, just an addition on the Hogan Prep thing, he tutored 20 kids, 7 who had taken the ACT before, and they improved their scores by 5 points.
Oh, that makes a difference.
So it's effective what he does, too. So
That's pretty good.
By the way, I just want to add more and more things. So Dwayne is modest about his business change. I mean, he has tripled his revenues and tripled the number of jobs that he has that are bring revenues to the city,
Good to hear.
his business, since he's been working.
Anyone else? Kokithia?
Well, you just asked the question. I was going to ask you, Dwayne, to talk about your success. A former colleague of yours, well, I worked at Kaufman
Yeah.
Scholars probably before you got there, so understanding how important after-school enrichment is, math and science and technology. I was thinking that I had just had some conversations with people over at the Hickman Mills and the Center School District. And so when we think about the developments that are happening out in the 5th District and the investments that Cerner will be making with education, especially in terms of STEM, it might be a good idea for you to go over and build some partnerships and talk to them about ways that you can do. But I was going to ask you, how are you improving the scores? What are some of the tactics that you could share about improving the test scores? That's one. And two, any strategies you have, for test anxiety? I know a lot of kids, they understand it, but when you get that time test and that test in front of you and you stay on one question, what have you seen to help really motivate students in terms of learning? And then have you thought about expanding to GRE or LSAT? So just some things I'm throwing out there, wondering, what are your thoughts?
So first of all, it's funny that you say about Hickman Mills. I had a conversation with them this morning, and Dr. Carpenter sent an email out to him last week, and we got together this morning to talk about me coming out and working with them possibly. And then when it comes to my particular strategies, I have a system called SKP, which is called Strategies, Knowledge, and then Practice. So I play basketball, high school, and college. The one thing that I think parents and kids don't really realize is that you can, in order to become great and good at something that you want to do, you have to practice at it. So in order for me to become a great basketball player and go off to play college ball and do all of this good stuff, I had to get in the gym. I had to do things that other kids weren't doing. I had to run in the morning. I went and shot 500 shots and made 500 shots to be able to become what I call a three-point specialist. But anyway, so the practice part of this thing, to get kids to understand that, it's going to take some work. One of the things that I did when I piloted my program here in the city was I talked to the students and say, okay, what is it that you guys are doing that I need to work on, right? So the guys, my son included in this whole particular thing, and I want to say that he helped me start this business when I left the foundation. So my son included in this, 11 boys, 10 girls. I gave them the strategies and the knowledge and the practice part, and their scores jumped 2.9 points.
That's pretty good.
Cumulative. The girls jumped 4.3.
Yeah.
And I went to the girls, I'm like, yo, man, what's going on? Talk to me. Tell me what's going on. And they said, Mr. Joseph, those boys that you got in here, all they want to do is play basketball. They will talk about sports and all that stuff. But this is what we do. We go ahead and we focus on time management and we focus on goal setting. And from that point, I developed a curriculum based on goal setting and time management. And what I did with that was you get the kids to start setting goals for themselves and then allow them to understand how to manage their time. And they got a lot of things going on. They got so much stuff going on with the phone and technology that they're distracted. But if you give them a plan and put them and can allow them to continue in that plan, they will begin to do the things that and they see the results. So that's one of the things that we work with when it comes to the techniques that we use. And it's been very, very effective. One student I saw her at the Nike outlet, and I was excited about this. I'm telling you, this is one of the best jumps I've had. I did a program over at Bishop Ward, and she was in part of that program. She had a 19, and she struggled and was like, I don't know if I'm going to ever get past this 19. So we gave her the strategies and the knowledge and the practice parts of this and gave her the goal setting and time management pieces. And she, from that point, went from a 19 to a 26.
Ooh.
because she dedicated herself to it. She said, and now she's looking at going to, I think it was Marquette or Villanova, that she's going to go to school. I mean, those are the things that you want to see. A kid come that never, a young lady, I'm going online now, you know. Another thing that came out of this whole small business development, like, you need to expand. You got an audience. So let's try to look at online. I started with Skype, and a young lady from Atlanta worked with her, piloted the program with her, and she went from a mere 12 to 17, but, you know, and she wanted to get into a certain school. And I was a little disappointed, guys. I'm serious. She did a 17, but her family was like, she did a 17. She gets to go to this school, you know. And I'm like, oh, okay. But she did really, really well.
Okay.
And so yeah, those are.
What age do you have it differentiated for middle school and then high school, or when would you like to receive kids, or the first introduction to your program?
I would like to, when it comes to, it's two parts of it. So it's the ACT test. I would like to get kids in right around the 11th grade year, 10th going into 11th grade. And they have 6 opportunities, well, actually 12 opportunities to pass this test. I don't advise that, you know. That's a lot of time, you know. So, but they have 12 opportunities to pass this test. So we all, but when it comes to math, we work with kids as young as kindergarten all the way up to college. And we use a program that not only put a Band-Aid on their issue, but we go down to the root problem. We give them assessment, we work with them into getting it, and then we work with the parent on how to help them. Like I said, Foxville News did a really good story on us, and it helped out a lot when it came to bringing in revenue too. But it really was a good, a good opportunity for me to bring in kids of all backgrounds, and from kindergarten all the way to college.
Councilwoman, one of the things that he's selling himself short on is his work with Chris Basadix and Wendell Phillips.
Okay.
Because working with BEU, who has a strategy for a development plan in that entire area, working with technology and education, and BEU and Dwayne have really come up with a plan to really revitalize that entire neighborhood using education as one of the basic components.
Okay. Well, you'll be expecting a call from me. Thank you for the great work.
And those 2 schools are going to be the schools that we're going to adopt to bring in that after-school program.
That's good.
For math, and you know. So.
Great. Dwayne, thank you for, it's always great to have someone come from somewhere outside of Kansas City and then get excited about where we're at. When you're here every day, it's easier to see what's wrong versus what's exciting and new.
Yeah.
And to have that energy come in, and so we thank you. And you really kind of must have been practicing on getting rid of that Louisiana accent, because I'm not hearing much.
Yeah, well, it's more northwest up there.
When he talks faster, it comes out.
Y'all.
So we appreciate it. The excitement that you can see about what you're doing, it shows on your face. It shows that you do love what you're doing, and it's, I think, one of the key things that I saw strung through this presentation, and maybe you don't even realize it, is that making the money just really still wasn't enough, and that giving back piece fulfills you, but it's also growing your business at the same time. So I think that's a really key message as we're growing these entrepreneurs, and you find it a lot in entrepreneurs so willing to give back. And the money's important, and it's exciting, and you're doing it, and you're doing that, but when you give back, that just comes so much easier. So it's an amazing story. We really appreciate it. Councilman Glover, did you have something to say?
You still have part of the Louisiana thing. I grew up.
It comes out.
It comes out, but also Southern drawl is, you don't speak as rapidly as some of the other people that come before here. So,
Okay.
which makes it easier to understand.
You should see him eat the gumbo at Danny's Big Easy on Tuesday.
Yeah.
If you want to see Southern. So. By the way, I might add that as a result of the work that's going on with the Urban Business Growth Initiative, yesterday I had a meeting with some of the people from the Southtown Council, and they're interested in really working in the area of 63rd and Troost to enrich that area. And we're kind of using Hogan Prep, the school, kind of to be a hometown school with a community. So it's a result of like the work that's going on at 18th and Vine. It's very cool. That's very cool. So you talk about going to the south part of town and stuff and see how it develops. Center High School, I mentor a kid that's on the Center basketball team who's friends with a Hogan kid. And he said, hey, can we get that guy to come and do some tutoring down at Center? I'm like, heck yeah, let me talk to your coach. So that kind of stuff. So it spreads. It just spreads. Good stuff spreads.
It is. And there's a lot going on 63rd, so that's a great another.
Yeah.
I mean, we have so much to be proud of, and it's all continues to need work. So thank you for coming to Kansas City and landing your roots at 18th and Vine and expanding from there. So is there any other comments? Councilman Reed, do you want to close up?
Well, yeah, a couple of things, and actually, Rich may want to talk about this as well. But one is that if you refer back to the slide in terms of the loans and how much money we're able to see, Dwayne is a good example. He's just one person whose business is really flourishing. However, it's really flourishing, but there's so many others who continue to flourish because of. Has a baby been born or something?
Yeah, her daughter's late.
Yeah, she's on a new grandchild watch right now.
Okay, I missed that. Okay, well, hopefully the baby was born while we're talking about new business.
You spoke it into
Expansion.
Oh, that's pretty cool. But I guess
Your
back
voice
to the point.
carries.
Well, sometimes. But I think, his example is that, oftentimes we hear about, things in the Kansas City School District or just within the school district surrounding. And, unfortunately, the school district continues to lose numbers. And, the attendance record and money, they're doing bad. And we've got to do things to continue to grow, but help them outside of the classroom. And a lot of times they can't afford it, but, your passion, your drive, determination really shows how just one small initial thought could really trigger in the work that UMKC has been able to do to help businesses is great. I get to see this quite often. I won't say what day I go, but over at the Lincoln Building is where I get my hair cut at. And, it's great to see all of the entrepreneurs who move in the building, who are excited about their small idea and how it's growing. And it continues to flourish. And the place is just built with folks there. But also, it's great, and the announcement that I think we have to kind of report because of the work of Mr. Usher and really helping shepherd through a lot of the stuff is even greater for what's happening here in Kansas City in the Global Entrepreneurship Congress 2015, which will be happening in April. We've got some exciting news to share, so you may want to tell everybody that.
Well, you may remember we had the National League of Cities Big Ideas for Small Business Summit back in September. And so we've built lots of great relationships with the staff there. And back in December, on Twitter, I got a tweet from Christina McFarland with National League of Cities that says, hey, cities, you should apply for this Global Entrepreneurship Congress Cities Challenge. And I took a look at it, and it was a competition or nominations from cities worldwide to talk about their entrepreneurial communities and how they're supported. So put together a team of some staff from the mayor's office, the EDC, KC ADC, Chamber, Visit KC, and together we put together a nomination for the city that was submitted in late December. A few folks, Startup Village, Matthew Marcus, some others made nominations for the city as well. And then we just kind of pushed it through social media over January when the judging took place. Last week there was a blog from Jonathan Ortmans, who chairs the Global Entrepreneurship Congress, outlining the applications received from U.S. cities, and he put us at the top of his list. Today, I received this email at 11:18 this morning that says, the results of the GEC Cities Challenge have been announced today. You are receiving this notification because your city is among the top five who will be invited to Milan. An invitation to the GEC will be issued to the mayor of your city, who may designate a representative. Ideally, we'd welcome a delegation from your city led by your mayor. So, yeah.
Well, I'm mayor today.
Your $25 at work.
My $25 is working for me today.
And I'm your teammate.
You already That's my teammates.
So I really need to point out in this that the key to our nomination was showing how Kansas City's entrepreneurial community is led by entrepreneurs, and that was highlighted in the blog that came out. And so actually I heard about this from a tweet from Matthew Marcus and Startup Village folks. So it took me a bit to pick myself up off the floor first and then find the email so I could confirm that it happened. So it's great news for the city and ties into this program because we're really trying to make sure that we're filling all the gaps from, as Maria said, somebody who just gets up and says, hey, I want to be an entrepreneur, to the really successful entrepreneurs that we have. And really I got to thank Troy for pointing me at the Lincoln building a couple of years ago and saying, how can we change the programs we have? And I picked up the phone and called Maria, who said, if you have the funding, I'll show you the program. And that's really, your support of this has made these programs really great.
Fantastic.
Well, and like I said, there was a lot of pushback initially when we started this, but I think now we are able to show the successes that has been made, and so a big thanks to you, Rick, for your hard work and help and making sure we've gotten here, and certainly helped so many people here in Kansas City. And thanks to our chair of the Small Business Committee, Councilman Taylor, for his hard work, and then of course my colleagues for their work on our committee, because this really shows how we really want to promote businesses, and now being recognized on a world stage for growing entrepreneurship here in Kansas City is remarkable, but it's because of the hard work of so many. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for being here today.